Hey guys, so what is up? It's Cat here. I'm so excited for this video. This video is going to be like extremely different from all of the rest, so apologies in advance. If this is not your thing, the usual Star Wars or sci-fi content I'm sure will be back up and running at some point, but I wanted to just make this video tonight. Literally, I did absolutely nothing to prepare for this. I wanted to make a video reviewing the History Channel series Vikings. I am sure many of you have already seen by now. The show, I believe, finished its 6th and final season in 2020, and I am just extremely late to the game, mainly because I've always wanted to watch this show, but I was too far behind at the point that I wanted to watch it that I was like, I can't even do this anymore because the show is 6 seasons long and the latter half of the seasons do have 20 episodes each, and all the episodes are like 50 minutes, so it was a lot of content, and I was just like, I don't know if I can dedicate, this much time of my life to watch this, but I was recently encouraged at around the same time by 2 people, so I have to publicly give a shout out to my friend Olivia, and you guys know Alex, AD Edits, both of them literally like around the same time were encouraging me to watch this show, and I was like, this is the sign from the universe that I've needed, and I owe them both because this has been one of the most phenomenal series I've ever watched. I want to talk about it. I know I'm late to the party, so if you've watched Vikings, hopefully this is fun for you. If you've not watched it, hopefully this will maybe inspire you. It is kind of nice being able to binge it all, I will say, but if you've had an interest in the show and you've never gotten around to watching it because it does seem very daunting, I am here to tell you that it is very worth it. But rather than just doing a typical review, I really want to try giving myself a Viking makeover. Now, okay, this is why I'm saying there has been no preparation involved, because y'all know from like my Darth Maul Sith makeup looks that I've attempted, I am by no means a professional. I literally don't have professional equipment or anything like that, nor skills. When it comes to like makeup, especially, Viking makeup, but my logic is, they didn't have like professional makeup brushes or eyeliner back then. They were just smearing coal on their eyes, so I can do that. So that's what we're here to do today. We're gonna shake things up, and we're gonna do a non-spoiler, spoiler-free review talking about Vikings while we tried to make ourselves look like a Viking warrior. Now, one of the greatest parts of this show is that a lot of the warriors are female. Some of the best characters are female, but even the dudes, like everyone's wearing eyeliner in this show, and so I figured I want to recreate that, just like specific, just the general eyeliner look, but I think I also want to take it a step further, and obviously I couldn't do hair. I did absolutely nothing to prepare for the hair. If you've watched the show, or like, I'll include some pics, they are doing extremely intricate braided hairstyles. I can't braid my hair to save my literal life. Could I have watched a YouTube tutorial like to learn how to do it? Absolutely, but Viking women didn't have YouTube. They just had to wing it. So I wung it. This is as good as it's gonna get. So just use your suspension of disbelief. But I think I want to take the makeup a step further, because obviously anyone can just, you can put goth eyeliner on and say you're a Viking, but I want to channel the look that so many of these characters have after battle. If you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. Again, I'll insert some pics, but they look messed up when they are coming off the battlefield. They are just like so covered in blood and dirt and just like, I don't even know, like all sorts of weird fluids and earthly things just covering them when they come out of battle, and that is like everyone looks like that at some point during the show. So I think I want to not take it too far, but try just a little bit, make our own little fake blood. I don't know. So yes, no promises. Obviously this is all just for fun. So without further ado, let's dive in with our trusted black eyeliner. This made an appearance in our Sith video, and it's gonna make an appearance now. Oh, I do have a mirror. I lied. So I did do a little bit of research as to why everyone was wearing coal around their eyes. Apparently it was useful to deter, ward off sunlight, which I guess is the same reasoning behind why like sports players wear eye black nowadays. So same logic, you know? So anyway, why don't we get into there are so many highlights of this show, and it's so hard for me to not talk about spoilers, but I think one of the most compelling parts of the show, one of my favorite aspects of the series, the fact that they managed to, for 6 seasons straight, play the absolute biggest mind game on at least myself. I don't want to make generalizations, but they somehow made it possible for 6 seasons straight for me to be rooting for the bad guy. You do learn so much about Viking culture throughout the show, but it's no secret, I think everybody, even if you don't know a single thing about the Vikings, I'm sure it's common knowledge that they were not the greatest people. You know, they have the reputation of raiding and pillaging, so obviously I went into the show knowing that they don't have the greatest, you know, reputations. Oh, I'm already poking my eye out. This is good. This is good already. But yes, they somehow managed to play the biggest mind game of all on me, and for 6 seasons straight have me root for essentially the villain. They are not portrayed to be the villains, but in the grand scheme of history, the Vikings were definitely not great people. For 6 seasons straight, questioning my own sanity, my own moral compass, because no matter what they did, I was still rooting for them from the first second. We're just going in with this eyeliner here. This is not in any way meant to be a tutorial. If you're looking for tips, the tip is literally just take your eyeliner and pretend you listen to My Chemical Romance and just go for it. But yes, I was rooting for the Vikings the whole time, regardless of anything that they did. They are essentially the bad guys in every situation that they insert themselves into, like historically, like they were everyone's nemesis. People feared them. And maybe that's just like the nature of the show. Like, I guess it's easy to be rooting for the main protagonists that you're following, this kind of one-sided, you know, it's just their perspectives of things and their interactions with other kingdoms and other countries and whatnot. Oh, see, we're not going for perfection here because everything is gonna get smudged. This is all gonna get smudged. Where's my reference photo? Don't worry, we're gonna blend. But yes, there are literally people like begging the Lord, like praying to God, like please can you just get these Vikings off our back, because a lot of the stuff they do is straight up just unprovoked. Like they sail over and take the time to venture to other people's land and do their business. Vikings just pillage and raid and do whatever they feel like for the sake of just getting out of their hometown. Like that's just their leisure, you know? And for all 6 seasons, I was rooting for it somehow. But that is one of the great aspects of this show. All of the characters are obviously flawed people in the sense that they're killing and pillaging and raiding. Like, that is their way of life, but it's not depicted. They don't think that that's bad. And that's one of the redeeming, I guess, parts of why you can be rooting for them, because for them, this is their culture. This is their purpose in life, to venture out and explore the world and steal and, you know, take what they want. On top of all that, all of the characters, and I'm going to talk more about this, all of the characters are extremely multifaceted and flawed people. There are times in this show, and I think this is what makes a successful show and successful characters, is there are times where you're rooting for every single person, and then times where you hate the characters and what they're doing, and you're just like, why? For the most part, all of the characters receive like the most phenomenal development, and I think that this is heightened by the fact that the show does take place over the span of many years, unlike any other, you know, series that you would watch that maybe, you know, has a little bit of like time passing, but not over the course of like 20 plus years of time jump. So with that vast stretch of the timeline, you have the opportunity to watch some of these characters grow from literally infancy into adulthood, and it's just such like a wild experience, because again, I feel like you don't get to see that a lot in like film and television, but because of that, you do get so attached to these characters and you get to see them like throughout their whole lives, and you get to see them progress and grow, and it is just truly like the perfect formula for like fully fledged character arcs. I'm not looking forward to taking this off. That's why I'm trying to, alright, I'm being too gentle about this. Alright, we're just gonna take, literally, we're just taking this and we are just going for it, alright? No mercy. I'm sorry, eyeballs, but we have to. But see, like, they didn't have perfect makeup. They didn't have eyeliner while they were doing this. They literally were just finding coal from, I don't even know where you get coal. We're not going for perfection. We're going for historical accuracy here, you know? This is why I was excited for this, because I knew no matter how bad it maybe looks, it matches the vibe because they were not looking perfect when they were coming out of battle. Oh my god, I'm really excited. Okay, I look kind of goth. How do they avoid looking goth? No, they just go for it. They just look goth. I'm just gonna embrace it. But yes, that is another one of the best aspects of the show. Obviously the characters, but the fact that all of the characters are treated with a tremendous amount of respect that I feel like you don't necessarily see in other television shows. And I don't mean that other television shows are dissing their characters. I just mean Vikings takes extra care, and you can tell that they recognize how much some of these characters do mean to the audience. There have definitely been instances where I've watched other shows, and let me know if you can relate to this. And they've, like, you know, killed off one of your favorite characters, or a character dies, or they get rid of somebody important, and it just feels like so anticlimactic, and like there was no respect for that character or what they might have meant for you, you know? Like, after all of the time you spend getting invested, but with Vikings, it's a completely different case. The writers, you can tell, definitely grasp what these characters mean to the audience. Obviously, every character has ups and downs, but this could also be heightened because the transition from life to death and the prospect of death was viewed very differently back then. The idea of going to Valhalla is something that people welcome and embrace, unlike, you know, the kind of mysterious, you know, nature surrounding death in modern society. Back then, people were asking for it. By the time you hit 50, it seemed like everybody was just like trying to die in battle, you know? That was also one of the cooler aspects of the show, just learning about, you get so immersed in the culture, the idea of gods, and particularly fate, which is another huge and very intriguing overarching theme throughout the series for every character. Fate is another huge aspect of the show that I really enjoyed because it's not exactly something that I think about in my everyday life, or I don't want to make generalizations again, but I feel like it is not as broad of a topic as it was back then. It seemed like everybody was... I'm gonna adjust this before I keep talking because I can't really take myself seriously right now. Okay, ow. Yeah, see? That looks a little... this looks fine. This looks fine. I, like, was not going for perfection with this. I just wanted to have a good time and then regret it later when I was trying to take my makeup off for the night, you know? They didn't have professional... They barely had mirrors back then, alright? They were just probably winging this, and we're gonna smudge it out a little bit on the sides, because they got artistic with it, you know? They were getting artsy. Yeah, I'm liking this. This is gonna be a nightmare to take off later, but you know what? I look kind of intimidating right now. I really like this. That's literally like the main part of this. Next, we're gonna dive into making ourselves look war-torn. But yes, seeing the ways in which every character interpreted fate differently, and the prospect of a predestined, you know, kind of, is there free will or whatnot, or is their fate set in stone? Can they ever avoid it? Can they change it or alter it? It's very interesting seeing the way in which every character kind of toils with the idea of their fate, and whether or not it's exciting to find out whether they come true or not, you know? But I generally liked the questions that the show poses, like, are our lives predetermined? You know, do we have free will? These aren't really things that I think about or talk about, you know, on a daily basis or in modern life. I don't know, maybe. And just obviously learning about their culture in general, it plays a humongous part throughout the series, but you do get so immersed in it, and the world building is just like, it's just wild. But of course, I think everyone, even if you've never seen the show, I think it's safe to say that this show has a reputation for being extremely graphic. I think that's no secret. But while I went into it expecting that, I was not prepared for how desensitized I would be by the end. And I've seen graphic shows, Game of Thrones. I'm talking graphic, like violence, like gore, blood, guts. But this show takes it to another level. It makes Game of Thrones look like preschool, which I didn't think was possible. And you guys know I've said in other reviews talking about other shows or film or whatever that I'm not a huge fan of violence, but it's so bizarre about how much of a fan you are by the time when you get into this show. The battles are just on an epic scale that I've never seen in any other, like, productions, except for, like, with, like, CGI extras, but there are no CGI extras in this show. The scale of the production continues to just blow your mind as the show progresses, and just seeing these epic battles on these huge open fields with hundreds of extras involved it's just, even if you don't like violence, you have to acknowledge there's something just like jaw-dropping about the quality and the production in that regard. But by the time the 6th season rolls around, it's definitely like, oh, blood, guts, decapitated heads and limbs on the battlefield, like, sure, whatever, we've seen it, you know? Nothing shocks you by the finale of this show in terms of the gore. I mean, they must have literally used 200 gallons of fake blood on this show. I really want to know, like, how many it actually was. Speaking of fake blood, we're gonna try to concoct our own. So everyone's, like, covered in their own and other people's blood by the end of these battles. Now, I'm not gonna go all out, but I wanna go a little bit. So this is I don't have fake blood. Again, I could have done more to prepare for this. We're doing the cheap last minute DIY version here, folks, okay? This is a very red lipstick. I mean, it's extremely potent. Also, it's hard to take off, so I should actually think about this before I go too far with it. We're weighing all of this, but it just occurred to me that I maybe don't wanna put this all over my face, because I have a Zoom meeting tomorrow, so we're just gonna pretend. That's fine. Does that just look like I put lipstick on? Sure, but I do want to take and try to make like a little bit of a watered down version. This is so bad. I literally just have like a plastic bowl. I'm trying to mix lipstick with water. It's like not a good idea. Let's just look at some of these battle photos. Yeah, we'll just play it safe. We'll just play it safe, you know? They literally just have random blood, like, smudged on them by the end of battle. Like, does that look like lipstick? Yes. Yes, it does. But you know what? With art, you gotta make do with what you've got. Alright, you know what? I look a little bit war-torn, okay? The final step of this is just gonna be adding, like, fake dirt. Because of the scale of the production and the amount of just extras and gore and just everything is heightened. It truly like maximizes the stakes is what I'm trying to say. It's a very high stakes show. Everything is life and death back then. How do they make it look so natural in the show? Like, what? This cannot be good for my skin. Final point I will make is that as a female viewer in particular, the show is literally freaking phenomenal when it comes to developing female characters that are absolutely incredible for all fans watching, like not just even as a female fan. The women in this show, especially in a male-dominated world, you know, back then it was really a man's world at the time. One of the most kick-ass parts of this show is that on the battlefield, half of the people fighting were women, like, which was news to me at the time. And the show doesn't even necessarily make an effort to highlight, oh, look how cool these women are. It just is inherent, and they make a point to not even emphasize it in any way or shove it down your throat, but it becomes very clear so effortlessly that people revered these women as much as they did male warriors, and that in some cases the women were feared even more because they were even more fierce on the battlefield. So yes, I just have to point that out, that this show is in another league, I feel like, when it comes to creating just like phenomenal female leads and characters that are still flawed, but that's what makes them great. Again, I have to just go back. The characters are what drive this show, and they are all just so perfectly handled and with respect. I just can't emphasize that enough. It truly feels like the writers knew how much all of these characters meant to their fans, and they treated them with the proper respect that they deserved. Alright, I feel like this was as good as it was gonna get. I wasn't expecting much. I think I did an okay job. I think I did okay. This was fun. I'm happy that I did this. So yeah, those are my general, non-spoiler, spoiler-free thoughts. I would maybe do a spoiler review, but again, this show is just so grand and on such a big scale. Lots of great characters, lots of great arcs. I wouldn't even necessarily know where to focus, and I would probably just be reiterating a lot of the same points, which is that the continual character development and the high stakes and tension and drama between families even on this show, the scale, the production, the scenery, the landscapes, everything, it just feels so real. This was not exactly a good time to be alive, let's put it that way. Like, I'm pretty sure the average age lifespan back in the day here was like 30 years old probably, but Vikings does an incredible job of making you want to actually live during a time like that. I wanted to end this off with a little fun portion. I really wanted to do, there's so many characters in this show, I just wanted to do a little character test. Which Vikings character are you quiz? If you're an OG on this channel, you know that we like the occasional BuzzFeed quiz. I can't resist. So here we are. We know which character from Vikings you're most like based on your preferences. Let's dive in. Your season, sir, which Viking god has your family descended from? Pick your favorite animal. Bear, snake, wolf, eagle. Fly, eagles, fly. Pick your favorite Ragnar Lothbrok's son. Obviously, oh, Fitzurk or Bjorn. No, I have to go with Bjorn, obviously. Yeah! On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this. If you've seen Vikings, what are your thoughts? SKOL, my friends. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye, guys.